What's up, guys? Casey and George with the Gold Bracket Racing YouTube channel, presented by TSR Racing Products, BRG, 3D printed racing parts, Chance Performance Parts, Syntex Printing. What's up, George?
Not much, man. It's quite the Tuesday. Work was fun today. I'm glad to be off of work. We're gonna stop right there with all the work talk and get on into some drag racing talk because that's what we're here for, right? Open discussion.
Talk about.
It is March the 1st. I know it's go time. It's the end of the winter series. That's over. It's time to start up. Time to step on that loud pedal. Hopefully, me this weekend. It's supposed to rain a little bit, but we hope that ends before the day starts. You know how that goes. But go time is what I see, Casey. What about you?
That's right, man. It was go time for me about last Thursday for about 20 minutes, and then I absolutely destroyed the converter in the Firebird. Yeah, long story short, I got that thing all blown apart right now. Got to order a few TSR racing products, got to order some stuff from Champs Performance, and that all should be here to me tomorrow. And luckily, Rodney Schaefer had a torque converter that he wasn't using. He's got about 15 of them at any given time. So he had one he wasn't using. He's sending that my way, and we'll see if it works. If it does, guess I'll be sending him a check in the mail. What do you think about that?
Hey, that's good stuff, man, and definitely learned a little bit through that process for you. I didn't know anything about a Super 8. Well, I know something about a Super 8 now. You guys can laugh at me if you want to. I don't really care because I didn't know anything about it. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know, but pretty sweet deal, man. I guess you're gonna be running a Bruisey now, huh?
I guess so. That's what we got coming. So yeah, I guess it's something to do with I guess it's a 9-inch exterior and 8-inch guts or something like that. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what that does, plus or minus. Maybe somebody in the chat will tell us that here in a little while, or maybe somebody will send us a message over at the goingbracketracing@gmail.com. Let me know what I'm talking about here a little bit more. But
Right.
I can tell you right now, I'm getting ready to learn how to rebuild a Power Glide transmission. And luckily, TSR Racing Products, you'll see on this back screen back here at some point that Carl Monroe actually wrote a book on how to assemble and disassemble any kind of Power Glide. I think that it also includes the Turbo 350, 400, and 727, how to assemble and disassemble and do it the way that benefits drag racing. So I have one of those books coming, and we'll see how it works, man. I'll definitely be able to give you a review by the end of this week. But I can tell you right now, I talked to Chris over there at TSR yesterday, and great guy to talk to. Very informative conversation. And if you need any kind of transmission parts, definitely give TSR Racing a call.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Definitely good to be able to shout them out. They've been helping us out for a long time. Of course, anytime we have any issues, we definitely go through TSR for our training needs. You know how that goes. So, what we got going on today? Open discussion, guys. By the way, I don't know if you saw that in the title, but it's time to talk because it is literally go time. You see the NHRA back up and going, and I'm not even going to start with my goat talks because she got whooped pretty good that second round for being late on the tree. That's okay. That's all right. You still the champ. Keep it up. But drag racing is back in full swing right now, and I haven't had my chance to go to the racetrack. Last week we were going to be going, but Texas needs a prescription, as I said before. It was 30 degrees and sleeting outside. Well, if you go outside right now, it's almost 80 degrees in Texas. So that's just what we deal with in this state. Casey, do you deal with anything similar to that?
Oh yeah, it goes back and forth over here, man. It looks real good outside right now, though. I'm telling you that. But
Right.
man, this is the first weekend that Galata Motorsports Park is open. First points race in the weekend, or the year, I should say. And man, I wish I was going to be there because it's kind of optimal weather. It's going to be about 70 degrees, 75 degrees, sunny all 3 days. As far as I know, they're going to have a gamblers race on Friday, 2 5-granders for top ET on Saturday and Sunday for 180 bucks. And man, if I can burn some midnight oil and I get everything here on time, maybe I'll get there. Dad was telling me earlier on the phone, man, I know you can get that done. Just hurry up and get that done. Hurry up and get that done. It's like, man, I got to work about 10 hours a day too. So it's hard to say. And then, but it is what it is. You never know. You might get a wild hair and stay up all night and work on a transmission, get it in the car, and get out to the track. It's just the thing that I'm worried about is the fact of it's still a brand new car. The only testing I have is I know it does drive straight, but it drives straight at like 740 or something like that, because I never made it all the way down the track. It within the grid said within 0.27 seconds, it went from 3,200 RPM to 6,200 RPM. So needless to say, I told my dad that that's what it said, and he said maybe what I did to the motor this year to make it like I put aluminum heads on it, I put a way bigger cam in it, I put a dominator on it, I put rods in it that are probably half the weight of the rods that were in it. And all that combined, maybe it'll make 100 more horsepower. But I was having some issues last year. If you go back and watch some of the previous episodes that we had for GBR Live, whenever we didn't have guests and we're just doing this open discussion type stuff, if you look about midsummer, I'm talking a whole lot about, I think my tire is slipping about 100 foot out in a back half Nova. And it went, it was going 6.0s before all this stuff was coming up. And it was kind of one of those things where I was like, man, I feel like it's slipping the tire. Well, I could never figure it out. And I was messing with suspension. I did this, didn't work. Did that, didn't work. Did this, kind of felt like it made it better. But then I was at Galat, which is always a good track. So you're not going to spin there. And then every once in a while, it would feel like it fluttered. Well, I was talking to my dad, and he's like, maybe that converter was halfway broke last year, and the motor just didn't have the power to break it all the way. And now I made the motor so much better that it just blew it up. Because it blew it up, George. It blew it up.
Well, looking at the pictures of it, man, and probably should have posted it to Go in Bracket Racing, but it did exactly that. It looked like you decimated that thing, to be honest.
Sounds like
took that out pretty good. Right. There's a lot of trash in whatever you were dealing with. You know what I mean? So, but again, man, like I said to you on the phone, if you guys didn't know, Casey and I, we talk just about every day. Good evening to you too, Scott Wakeman in the building. I see Sean Pinkerton out there too. What's going on? He says you'll be pleased with the converter, by the way, the Bruzy. And then I also see Cody Newman. He must be running some Bruzy out there too, because he's saying the same thing. So, but I like I told you on the phone, man. At least it gives you a better sense of what the Nova was doing. Was it really something that was, suspension or tires with the Nova? At least you can probably take a good shot at ruling that out. You probably had a hurt converter the whole time, like you said. So, got Johnny Cameron in here too. What's going on? It's open discussion, everybody. We got a couple of topics we'll throw out for you, but let's see what you guys got to talk about too. Who's going racing and where are you guys going? That's one question for you. But so Casey, man, it sounds like you're probably gonna burn the midnight oil to try and get into that race at Galat's. What it's sounding like to me.
I've been known to do that several times, so it's just hard to say, man. Once you become a racer, you kind of figure all that stuff out. You know what I mean? And I guess I shouldn't say once you become a racer. Once you've been a racer for your entire life, once the parts are there, you'll figure out how to get them all together. So there's a very good chance that more than likely will happen.
Right,
so we got an interesting question over here. Race Car Revolution over here saying, how much data acquisition do you all use? And he's also saying still frozen in the garage in Minnesota. That's unfortunate. but yeah, man. So this is my first year of actually having some sort of data acquisition other than seat of the pants feel. And I bought the MSD grid that I think it's a 7730. I mean, the only grid that's out there. But basically, the grid can only, by itself, it can only measure what it can control, which is timing and RPM. But you can also have a race pack that has just, it's not, I don't know if it's considered a Deutsch connector, but it works like a Deutsch connector, and you just plug it straight in, the race pack harness straight into the grid. It's already ready to accept it, and then you put all your sensors in, and it can show you anything you want. But that's all I personally use. And like I said, I literally have 2 passes of data acquisition right now. Actually, only one because I foot braked at the first run. But I can tell you that from what just happened to me, obviously we already know what happened because I took the transmission out and I visibly saw what happened to it. But if you were a guy that didn't necessarily know what they were looking at, or you didn't necessarily get in that deep on your car and you just pulled the data card real quick and put it in your computer, you could send it to your buddy, or you personally, if let's just say you know how to work on stuff, but you didn't have the time to work on stuff. You can download that data and look at it on lunch break the next day at work and be like, oh crap, whenever I get home, I need to pull transmission out. So just being able to see the RPM versus the amount of time that it happened, it can tell you a lot, in my opinion. And like I said, this is a very minimal amount of usage on this, but I can tell you Jeff Bonifield's in there right now. His son Jerry, he's the king of data acquisition, and one of these days he's going to come back on and tell us what all we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree with you more there. And to answer your question, I'm fairly new into bracket racing myself, owning my own car, I should say, and so I'm definitely a racer on a budget, for lack of better terms here, and so what I will say is that I consider myself quite the nerd. As much data as I can get, the better. I'm just not quite there with system-wise yet. I'd like to have a race pack and a grid eventually, maybe be able to do some tuning and tinkering with my car. So pretty well the main thing that I pay attention to is just weather, man. But that's a heck of a question to start us out for today. Anybody in the chat, what are you guys doing as far as for data acquisition out there? But definitely, here's David Hearn saying, dang it, he's late, start over. Dave,
he's always late.
We're not starting over, bro. Johnny Cameron's going to Galat. It looks like Alan Boynton is going to Galat as well. And I got Jimmy Nobles here. He says, George, your uncle about talked me into making that trip to the triple 50s in Missouri this year. Don't say he about talked to you, Jimmy. Just go ahead and let's get a good line of us going up there. I'm going. I'm not missing that race. Number one, if you ain't never been on Worldwide Technologies facility, you will not be disappointed at that. Number two, $650 for a 50, a 50, and a 10. Not to mention he's gonna have another 10 the day before. Man, it's only 8 hours, Jimmy. Come on, let's ride. Hey, I'll lead the way. I already know how to get there. We don't even got to turn GPS on.
And speaking of races, George, we got some Motor Mania happening, not this weekend, but next weekend. We're kicking off the Motor Mania season where we're going to have something live all the time, I think, for probably through November at this point, because next week we have two major races. We have the foot brake guys going to the triple tens at Loose Rocker, and then we also have the SFG kickoff in Bradenton that with maximum 350 entries.
It's coming. Listen, I said go time. I meant go time. Okay, it's time to go, fellas. I got goosebumps. That's how excited I am. I don't have a motor on. I'm not sitting next to the car. I don't smell no fuel, and I still got goosebumps. That's how ready I am to go. And you talking about all these races, Casey? Man, we got the 6-shooter coming up too, for the Texas folks. And you talked about Motor Mania TV. That's gonna be televised. So if you're in Texas, if you're in Oklahoma, if you're in Illinois, if you're in Kentucky, and you ain't got nothing to do, come on out here to the 6-shooter. I promise you're going to have a good time put on by Hamlin Motorsports. I'll get that flyer up here in a little bit as we continue moving along. We'll double back to that 6-shooter race, Casey, for sure. But, yeah, man, definitely. I'm looking at David Hearn here. He said, I sold all my race pack gear, and he went to Holley EFI standalone dash. It's much more user-friendly. I've heard quite a bit about Holley, especially knowing Jerry Bonifield there. So he's definitely a Holley connoisseur, and I've heard good things.
To say the least.
To say the least, I've heard good things about that system for sure.
Well, and this is what's funny about it right here too. So Jerry, we both know Jerry Bonifield. He loves data. He'll nerd out on data more than anybody you've ever seen. He looks at so much stuff. He'll read into stuff, but you got his dad, Jeff, here saying data is good, but it doesn't replace the basics. And that's the truth, man. At a certain point, you can sit here and you can kind of, I feel like you can read into stuff so much. And Jerry will tell you this too. I'm not telling you anything he wouldn't tell you, but you can get to the point where you have to realize at a certain point, some of this stuff is overkill. And he's more interested in seeing what happened at the same time this happened, not necessarily helping. I mean, he uses it kind of to help predict ET, but on other things, he's more interested in the aspects of what all happened and how did it happen, and kind of just interested in the systems per se versus because at the end of the day, a 0.1% of humidity is not going to cause any sort of ET change.
Sure.
But it's interesting to know, the humidity changed and that made the engine temperature go up 1 degree. That's what he's interested in.
Gotcha. So as much data as he can get, the better. You know what I mean? And more power. You know what I mean? And Jimmy Noble's in here saying he's got the grid installed on his dragster with a new K&R wiring kit. So he's on his way to getting some more data too, And Kevin Grider's here. He says, "Man, I'm still in the Stone Age with data." So am I. I thought about buying one of those big race cloud, not necessarily the race cloud, but the weather station from Computech. I had one lined up. I should have bought it, but I didn't. And I was just going to just connect it to the truck and find me a port. And next thing you know, the bed of my truck was going to be, high tech with a computer hacker setup going on in there or something. I don't know, but that's pretty much what that's all I'm gonna lay my kind of rest my thought process on is data from the weather. And I bought a track temperature gauge from good old boy at Champ's Performance. So I'll have my wife out there shooting track temperature after I've done a burnout and some things like that. So that's pretty much what my data is going to come from.
And here's the thing, man, you still got people out there like Johnny Ezel that wins just as much as anybody, if not more than most. And I think he still shifts his car by hand. And if he shifts his car by hand, he's probably not paying attention to the weather either, because guess what? He's going to sit here and be like, I'm going to hold 8. I'm going to tell you I'm holding 8, and I'm going to beat you because I'm going to be 005 or so on the tree, and I'm going to just stick a nose in front of you, and that's that.
Hang one on you, and good luck getting back around me, because I'm not gonna let that happen. What you got? You got a comment in there?
Yeah, we got Champ over here saying, I feel like too much data will have you freaking out, even over the little stuff. Maybe not, but I'm a perfectionist, and if I see the slightest thing, I freak out. And that's the truth, man. You can see stuff in, for example, people pay attention to density altitude. Density altitude is, I'm fairly certain, an equation based upon 3 things, which is like your absolute altitude, your humidity, and the temperature. So the thing is your DA could change, and because it's based on 3 variables, and I'm fairly certain those variables are correct. If I'm wrong, somebody put it in the chat, but I think those are the 3 variables that go into predicting or projecting your density altitude. Well, the thing is that it's just like any other thing with 3 variables. You can significantly change X, but if Y and Z go the other direction, it'll still show you the same thing. So say to make things easy, let's just say you're 200-foot DA. Well, you could have humidity go one direction and temperature go the other direction, and you could still be at 200 DA, but that humidity could be through the roof.
Yep. And I don't want to come off as
I don't
want to come off as the smart guy here. I'm not the greatest on weather, so what I do is I pay attention to major changes and track temperature. It's always going to be the case for me, generally speaking, and knock on a little bit of wood that I don't have in front of me right now. Mo likes to run the number. So hot, cold, with what he puts up on the board, it might get a little bit faster at night, just like everybody else's stuff will, but generally he runs the number. So I'm going to pay attention to that track temperature, and we can call it a day from there until I get the grid and the race pack. That way I can start tearing apart stuff and knowing why my car slowed down, So
that's right. We got several people in the chat here saying they're going to loose rocker foot brake next weekend. So that'll be something that we can all watch, man. We got Jerry Kraken just got in here saying hello from PCB, Florida. I bet you it's nice and warm down there for him.
It is
so
too.
He's probably, I wonder if you going to Bradenton, Jerry? Let me know.
Yeah, I heard he's taking gate entries. That race isn't full. It'd be nice to know somebody out there racing at the startup for the SFG kickoff. I think is what it's called there. So definitely not a full race as I read through the internet today.
And I was wondering about that also whenever we first brought that up is, I mean, to be fair, in December, the fuel prices weren't much different than they are right now. I mean, it's only just now become March as of today.
Sure.
But do you think fuel prices are going to deter people to go to Bradenton? Because Bradenton is a long way away. But like I said, December 19th or whenever it was, what they have 700 and something entries. That's what we were all talking about. So what do you think is going to happen?
I think they're gonna have the same type of show up. Only people who are gonna miss that race. It's gonna be something other than gas. Put it that way. It's gonna be something other than the hotel room or the fee being too much right now, or methanol being 195 doggone dollars a barrel right now. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking it's gonna be it's definitely gonna be a nice one. Kevin, man, Kevin Grider, XRP warm up next weekend, most likely. We'll see, because I'm pretty sure I might be at I-30 this weekend. So we'll have to massage the wife's shoulders, most likely, to be able to hit 2 weekends in a row. If she doesn't have to work, that's going to be the kicker there. But hey, are you coming to I-30, Kevin Grider? Let me know.
That's right, man. I haven't actually had to fill a barrel of methanol yet this year. I'm hoping it doesn't skyrocket through the roof. I mean, 20 or 30 bucks for a drum. I mean, yeah, I know that adds a lot, but I think some of these guys that are buying gas, that are buying racing fuel, I mean, I think their drums have gone up like $100 or $200. I mean, that starts to hurt the wallet.
That hurt me just thinking about it while you and I are just sitting here. So I had to take a deep breath about that one. You know what I mean? I am complaining about $30, $40 up on methanol price, and these guys are going up a couple $100. So Kevin's saying probably not, got 10 drums on a truck headed my way. That's what I'm talking about. You want to send one to my house?
Hey, he uses all of them. Him and Kendall both wearing them out. I can tell you that.
Oh, this Kevin Grider here. I hadn't seen Kevinoid yet. He hadn't jumped in there yet.
I got you.
Yeah, it's Kevin Grider here. Yeah, but no, man. I'll tell you what. This is a good time. Let's go talk to the boys over at TSR real quick. Hang in there, guys. We'll be right back. Open discussion, going bracket racing live. Hit that follow button. Subscribe, like, something. Be right back.
TSR Racing Products has everything you need to make your Power Glide Turbo 350, Turbo 400, and 727 transmissions the best they can be on the street or at the track. With exceptional products, customer service, and over 30 years of experience, TSR Racing Products is always available to help their customers with any of their transmission needs. In-house machining ensures you only receive the best products from TSR Racing. Visit TSR Racing Products at tsr-racing.com or give them a call at 800-394-5889.
Welcome back. TSR, you guys are awesome. Casey loves you. He definitely blew up that or that converter, and I don't know what he did to the transmission. What did you do to the transmission? You just freshening or what?
Yeah, I actually didn't blow up the transmission per se. It was the converter, but the problem is whenever you destroy a converter, the fluid pumps it through the entire transmission. So it embedded it in the front two clutches, which, I mean, those are relatively cheap, but it embedded it in the front two clutches. And I just figured if I had the whole thing apart, why not just put new clutches in it, because they weren't that expensive. And then I'll just keep the ones that are still good for spare for later to put in a backup transmission or something like that you're not necessarily going to use. But I can tell you right now that stuff is some nasty stuff.
Yeah, man. Hey, you gave me that call. I told Casey before he went, guys. I said, Casey, keep me up to date, man. Let me know how the car runs. I sent Casey a text message. This must be like 8 o'clock at night. Hey, man, you didn't tell me nothing. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Dang, car's hurt. Oh man, here we go. Already with a bill for the year. Actually, I think you're probably happy you went to Test and Tune and that happened, to be honest, because it could be the middle of the year and you could be really missing out on something huge. When in actuality, I hope you don't miss a lot at all. I'm pretty sure Wednesday, Thursday that your parts are going to get there and you're going to have everything put back together.
More than likely, man. And the good part about TSR is they're over in New Hampshire, so I can usually get stuff from them real quick. And then, of course, Champs Champs always gets stuff to me in 2 days max. Sometimes I get from him in one because he's just down in Georgia. But he guarantees you basically 2 days, man. So it'll get up there, free shipping for $100. That's the best part, man. These guys that are on this screen here, they aren't just people that we have up there that they're like, oh man, can you put me up on GBR? No, man, we actually order stuff from these guys. These guys are our main people that we call, and we want you guys to order from them as well, simply because they give the best customer service. Like I said, how often can you actually call the person, or you talk to the person that actually owns the company? Like, do you think that they're going to give you the best service? Of course they are. That affects their wallet. That's why we like small business.
True. And one thing is a fact is that small business has a way of keeping small customers coming back. And even big customers at that. We can go off on a tangent if you want to, and we can talk about what happened with Jags. I'm pretty sure breaking news has hit everywhere. I mean, we posted it on GBR the moment it happened, pretty much, or a day after or something. But it's time to give these little guys, you want to call them, give them a good shot at taking care of you. You won't be disappointed. I can definitely vouch for that. Mm-hmm.
And look at this, George. So you also see BRG 3D printed parts on there. What'd you just talk to Brian earlier today about? You just gave him a call and said, hey, man, I need a couple parts. And he just said, hey, I will literally invent them for you. What do you need? What'd you say?
That's a fact, man. Number one, I know most of us out here driving door cars. I don't have a fire extinguisher in my car. And my father said, hey, man, you probably need to get a fire extinguisher in that car just in case. So I said, that's a good idea. My wheels got to turn. And I messaged old Brian Garrett over at BRG. We're going to get some words from him here in a little bit as well. But messaged him and said, man, can you make me a fire extinguisher holder? I mean, a quick one, too, so I can just pull it and the joker comes off. He says, yeah, I can take care of that. So it's just the little things. And I even asked him about almost a glove compartment or a compartment. Old Mo doesn't have anywhere to put anything, so I cut a light. The tire gauge goes one way. The Zeus fastener goes the other way, and my hat might be in the back, in the bed somewhere.
God forbid, if you drop it, you know what happens if you drop real hard and you have some yellow dye in there.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wonder who did that. I wish you had a GoPro for that still to this day. You know what I mean? But definitely, man, it's just definitely the small companies, man. BRG, he's going to have me hooked up before you know it. All I had to do was tell him what size the chassis bar was on my car. Next thing you know, I'm going to have a holder for my fire extinguisher. Something to think about, guys, you know?
That's right, man. It's always cool to have somebody who can invent parts for you, because with race cars, nothing on a race car is a normal part. You can't just go to the auto parts store up the street and get whatever you need. You might be able to get a little bit of oil, but that's about it. You know what I mean? So We're either making it ourselves, or the best part about BRG is everything he makes is out of this high density plastic. So it's super strong and it's super light. So you're not going to put a bunch of stuff in your car and then all of a sudden now it's 100 pounds heavier and you're losing a tenth. You know what I mean?
Right. AD 6566, man. What's going on? Welcome to the show, man. It's open discussion. What do you want to talk about? He's asking us what the topic is, Casey. I don't know if you see it over there in the YouTube, but that's the topic. Whatever y'all want to talk about today, it's open discussion. But I see Kevin Grider saying call Warren at I Am Race Fuels. I've looked at that website. It looks like he'll deliver it to my house about $195. Of course, I don't have a drum right now, so I'll have to buy a new drum. I'll be doing that.
Hey, man,
Jim Bowker, check this out. Jim Bowker, right off the bat, I'd be interested in that fire extinguisher mount too. So I'll definitely be sending old Brian Garrett a text message, Jim, or I'll give you his number so you can contact him too, man. And it'll definitely be in the commercial here in just a couple of seconds. But give him a call, man. Anything you need, he can make it. I promise you that. Kevin Oy Little in the show. What's going on? He says, sorry for being late. No problem, man. You know, we got the rewind button called Start It All Over once we get it all done anyway. So, but welcome to the show. Hopefully, I'm going to drag Kevin Oy to St. Louis too, Casey. I'm hoping he comes. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to have to do to get him there, but him and Kendall will have a good time down at Gateway, or should I say Worldwide Technologies Raceway. Yep.
Yeah, you need to take a breath before you say that.
I know. There's too many W's too. Worldwide Technologies. I guess it ain't that many, but, you know. He says he's going. That's what I'm talking about. Enough said. Jimmy, come on. Greg Duffield, where you at? Speaking of Syntex printing, you know, I have to repaint the trailer. I couldn't find a decal anywhere to go back on that trailer. I found it. Greg Duffield made it. So be it, right?
That's right, man. So here's something I didn't know if you want to. Do you want to cut to a commercial? Because this next topic might be a big one.
Yeah. Well, we in 31 minutes. Let's go. We'll take a
right.
pause break. We good. Yep.
All right, cool. So here's my thought, because going off of my idea of SFG Bradenton, just that it's a long way away. But they did have a ton of people in December, like we said earlier. But this is my question, and I know in the Southeast we think of this as a normal race, but most of the world doesn't. Is this the year of the comeback of the local $5-grander? Local 10-grander, something like that? How big is too big for local racing? We were talking about this earlier on the phone, George, and it's like you said a Labor Day weekend, everybody has their big local race Labor Day weekend. And is this the year that maybe there's more than one of those? Because the racers are still in their general area. The racers that race at their local tracks, if they have the ability to stay there and have a reasonable entry fee, they would probably stay because they know that track. Why travel 500 miles away to race for 20, spend the fuel and all that stuff, whenever you could stay at your local track, race for 10, and what you need in the delay box, and whenever the weather feels like this, you're running 5:57.
Right. That's right. And we might have brushed this topic like one good time, and it's definitely something to be aware of this year. Local racing is going to be excellent this year. I actually think the crowd is going to be excellent as well. People aren't going to have a lot of money to go a lot of places to do a lot of things. If we continue the gas prices going where they're going, and the energy and the inflation, and can't leave the grocery store, especially if you got two young tykes, without spending $350 in grocery bill. So the local track knows this, because you know why? They feel the same thing we feel. They got to go to the pump. They have to go to the grocery store. They have to get their things done too. So they know a lot of people are going to end up staying closer to home. If your name isn't SFG or Bohannon or Hamlin or some of the other things, Loose Rocker, it may be tough this year. And that's just the forecast, because we could be totally wrong about it. I mean, you could see it both ways. This is drag racing we're talking about. And I'll take the thought from my Uncle Tony. I was talking to him on the phone the other day. He says, what's going on around your neck of the woods? I was like, well, I think it's going to sleep. Well, we had a 3-grander scheduled. And that, 3-grander, it's XRP's just bracket program. My uncle's in Illinois, and he's like, I was going to come. I was like, dang, that's 8 hours. That's 10 hours away. But we're going to go drag racing wherever we can go drag racing. Yeah, it is what it is. That's what we love to do. Most everybody. There's Brian Garrett. Man, I was about to text you, buddy. You got a few people wanting to see that fire extinguisher mount there, Brian. And me too. So definitely. But continuing on with my uncle saying the local track's gonna be good. 3,000. I think you're gonna see a lot of 3,000s. What I really hope though is the tracks like that don't have such a large showing, when they see that showing coming, that they up their purse to keep that showing coming. That's what I'm hoping for this year.
And that's the thing. That's kind of what we're seeing in the chat. Champ says Goliath's catering to us this year with big money and couldn't be any more thankful. That's the truth. Old Racers saying local is coming back for sure. But this is the one I wanted to get to. Bracket Racer 1 is saying 5 to 10 is my range, talking 5 to 10,000 if the entry fee matches. And that's the truth, man, because that's the thing is, like, let's just say your track has, 50 cars on average, and it's just a smaller track. If you want to run for $5,000, your entry fee is going to be higher to cover that. Now, if you go to a place, for example, Galat is subject to have 180, 200 cars in top ET any given race. So $5,000 for them isn't anything. That's why they're having that 21 grand blackjack race, which you can double enter for $400. I mean, that's a deal, man.
Right. And it's a perfect time to cut in the Hamlin flyer. For crying out loud, a 5 and a 10, watch this entry fee. What is it? 5 and 10 for an entry fee in the Hamlin's race. Looks like it's $280 for Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
For 5 and 10.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's perfect, guys. Okay, you were gonna go run 3,000 or your weekend race for 100, and maybe run on Saturday for another 100. When you can throw another $80 into it and run for 10 and 5, come on, guys, come on. And there's round money involved in this race, so be in Texas. If you're not coming to if you're close to Texas and you're not here, well then where the heck you at? No, I wasn't gonna take that old TikTok video, but definitely, man. A lot of buzz around the local area today. Look at YouTube, Case. We got another comment in there.
So it looks like we have a couple comments in here actually. So bottom bulb question, AD6566 saying, bottom bulb question, curious what others have noticed with the front tire pressure relating to reaction time. So he's wanting to know how much air would you take out if you're say 30 to 40, what do you let out? So that might be a champ question right there for foot breakers. I haven't actually got into that so much. I've primarily top ET stuff. I haven't really got into that for much. Any advice for a slow car in street 16-second range hitting the tree with a slow truck? You might have to leave on the second bulb going out, man, because go ahead.
Yeah, let me bounce off that one too a little bit. When you get a chance, and hopefully you don't blow nothing up. I don't want you to blow nothing up, but stab that brake as far as it'll go, and stab that gas pedal, and see if you get a little, almost like a rev limiter. I ran a Cavalier, a little four banger for a little while, where I pushed the brake all the way down to the floor, and the gas pedal all the way down to the floor. And it sat there. And I let go and I was gone. Right? So some of those cars, those older cars, have a built-in, it's basically a built-in trans brake button, but you're letting go with your foot. You know what I mean? So
right. And
I definitely check that out.
I actually just thought into this a little more and read this comment a little bit more. And he's saying, if you're 30 to 40, what do you typically take out? You actually aren't going to want to take air out. You're going to want to increase the air pressure because it's going to make the tire have less, there's going to be less tire on the ground because it's going to pump it up and make it more round. So it's going to take more tire off the ground, which is going to speed up your reaction time. So I do know at least that much. I don't know how to tell you exactly how much to take or how much to put in, but that's the direction you need to go in if you're trying to pick up your light and make your light speed up and be faster.
Right.
So you just have to work with that.
Right.
But yeah, man. So going back to this whole idea of local racing, how big is too big for local racing? Does it depend on your area per se? Does it depend on your car count? Because the area doesn't matter so much as long as you can get the people involved that it would take to cover the entry fee.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I think the majority of anything is going to be surrounding the rules of where you're racing. Number one, is there a curfew? I can tell you what, I can remember days at Old Benton. You don't pull out of that joker till 6 a.m. You know what I mean? We'll run race cars all night long. It ain't nothing out there except for the highway, and don't nobody care but the truckers. And everybody knows when the trucker drives past the racetrack, all you're going to get is a loud horn saying, "What's up?" You know what I mean? So, I think that plays the biggest part, because along with a curfew comes the problem of, can you get 400 cars down the track? Can you get 300 cars down the track? And at the same time, of course, is going to be barring any major oil downs for the day. You know what I mean?
And
so
can the track even hold 400?
Are there enough places? Right. So I don't know what to say is too big. We've seen the working man's 10 grand. 500 entries. Okay. Right. So it's definitely possible that people are going to travel for these 10s. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and it depends on the time of year it is too, because at the end of the year when there's nothing going on, I mean, don't get me wrong, Loose Rockers races are very good races. I mean, they do 10, 20, 10s for $380. I mean, talk about a deal. That's a deal right there for 3 days worth of racing above 10 grand each. But the thing is at the end of the year, their door car only race, I think a couple years ago, Michael Beard, if you want to see Michael Beard, he was on GBR, I don't know, several months ago at this point, but he's back in the archives. Go look at that. It's always up on YouTube. but Michael Beard said they had like 537 or 547 entries at Piedmont that time. So, I mean, you throw a good race. What is it? If you build it, they will come. It's true.
It's true. It's true. I'm reading through a Sean Pinkerton post here. He says cheap entry 10K is good for a track when they can pack the house. On the return, if it ends up 9 or 10 rounds, that turns into 14 to 16 hours to complete the race. Is the return worth it when you see how many rounds you need to get into the money and your per round return versus per run expense?
And this just gave me the this is what we always talk about here on GBR. If you look at Paige Hamlin's flyer, you know how you alleviate that? Round money. And that's what Paige Hamlin has done with that 6-shooter race is, yes, it's worth it because after third round, you're making money. So you don't have to worry, are these guys going to split with me? Because they race for a living and it's a different world for them because at the end of the day, that's how they pay their mortgage payment. So I can understand why they do what they do, or they got some guy funding them. They don't have a choice, you know, but the thing is when you have round money, you don't have that problem so much. I mean, yeah, you still want to do some splitting, but you're still getting some money.
So check this out. Hold that thought because we're coming back to this one. We're coming right back to this one. We got to let BRG get a couple words in here, man, especially knowing that there's fans in the stands right now looking to get that fire extinguisher mount that I've been talking about. So hang on in there. We'll be right back, guys. BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts are able to provide you with whatever you desire to enhance your drag racing operation. Items like safety belt magnets, nitrous bottle holders, and even quick release delay box mounts are able to be obtained from BRG Motorsports 3D printer racing parts. Have a look at top selling items such as helmet hooks and steering wheel hooks, which are proven to make it easier to maneuver throughout your race car. You can contact BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts at telephone number 765-729-1177. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here. Another episode of Going Bracket Racing. It's go time, baby. Go time. That means it's time to stand on that loud pedal. It's time to be 00, take 00. It's time to win. I need to get in the winner circle this year, Casey, man. I know you feel the same way. I know everybody feels that way. Otherwise, why are you doing it? I know it's fun, but everybody likes to win, for crying out loud. Come on now.
Right.
Back to that subject, though. Back to the round money. The chat is buzzing over round money right now. I'm going to be honest. It's buzzing about round money right now.
That's right, man. I mean, fixing to use race cars, round money. George Hoff, turn on 3 win lights and you get paid. Bracket Racer 9622, round money is the best way to fund racing. Those are all the correct comments, man. It's people stack so much money at the top of these races and they say, oh, well, the racers are going to split. Well, there's times where the racers don't split. And that's why you don't get the local guys coming out. You could probably, if you're paying round money at some of these races, I would say you could increase your car count by 25% because there are people who say, like, I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but there are people that, like you were reading earlier, that say, if it takes X amount of rounds to get to, to get to any kind of money whatsoever, that's not even meaningful, but a couple bucks, and you have to go through Nick Hastings and Jeff Serra and Luke Bogacki and the Williams brothers and the Folks and all these guys to do it because they're all going to be there. Champ McCory, Ernie Humes, all these guys, on and on and on. You just talk about, guys who aren't even going to show up because they're like, man, you're going to put me against all these heavy hitters, and then I have to get to 5th round to even get half my entry fee back. Well, if you start winning a couple $100 at, Loose Rocker does that too. You win a couple $100 after the 4th round win. In my opinion, you should never get to 4th round every single day and come home with $0 in your pocket. It just doesn't make any sense, man. These cars are too expensive. The entry fees are too high. Fuel prices are getting high. You need to be able to get some money for what you're putting in.
It's true, man. It's true. I got a longtime friend in here, Ron Hillier. I see you over there, buddy. Thanks for chiming in. He's over in Arizona, and he says he's about to go hang out by the pool. He also says, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but glad to see you guys having fun, basically. Yeah, man. Hey, good seeing you, too. But right on, Casey. It's right on. You should never if it's possible, fourth round should definitely pay you some money. Hey, $50,
Right.
great. $50, so be it. Get me close to giving me my entry back, so be it, right? But definitely a lot of merit behind what you're saying, Sean Pinkerton. Cost per run and things like that. I would also say if you're gonna have a $5,000, please don't start time runs at noon or 2 or 1. Man, get the race moving, because you never know what's gonna happen. Especially the day before Sunday, a lot of people like to go to church. You know what I mean? So get the race moving around 8 or 9 o'clock. Do your time runs around 9. Now let's get this bad boy into eliminations around 11 or 12 or something. What you got, Casey?
And here's another thing, George, is, I've noticed there's a lot of tracks that do this, and it's a time run per entry. Now, something I don't like about a time run per entry is that, first of all, if you're single entered, you're already at a disadvantage, in my opinion, because I have been double entered, and I typically do better double entered, because you always run into that guy where, one round you'll lose because you're 7 total and the guy's 5 total, and then you'll be 20 total the next round and you'll destroy the guy, So in my opinion, that extra chance always matters. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you're playing 2 spaces at a blackjack table, you got twice as many chances of hitting blackjack. That's simple statistics, like everybody knows that. No one's going to argue with that. But the problem is whenever you give 1 time run per entry, now not only do they have an advantage there, they have an additional advantage by having the additional time run. And then they can buy back twice. So why not, if you're going to give 2 time runs, because 90% of the people are going to double enter anyway at your local event, why not, rather than doing 2 time runs, why don't you say everyone gets 1 time run? We're going to do a run for the money. You put $10 in, pay 80% back. Track gets an extra 20%. So everybody wins. The track makes more money, and somebody has a little carrot hanging out there, and someone's going to go home with, let's say if there's 100 cars, someone's going to go home with $800. I mean, that's what's cool about run for the money. And I don't know if people don't think about that more, or that's like a Midwest thing or whatever, but everyone's going to do it because it's $10 to get an extra time run, and you're given the other time run anyway.
Yep.
So you're already wasting the time. Why not just do it?
Yeah, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's the way to solve the whole thought process of, yeah, this guy's doubled, this guy isn't. Okay, well, let's do this. You can double. I don't care if you double. That's great. You're only getting 1 time run, and then you got to pay me $20 for the next one. Let's make this a run for the money. Pay it back. Even pay it back 80%. So
Right.
be it, right? Give a chance for a little competition. See who
I
runs
think you
closest
could
to
pay
the
it
dial.
back. I think you could pay it back 60, 70%, and everybody's going to do that. Who's not going to put $10 in with the chance? And we're saying this because of easy math, but let's just say that it's even only 50 cars, because your average track will probably have somewhere around 50 top ET cars. Put 500 in the pot, and then what's that leave? 50% would be 250. Even if they're only paying 50%, you're not going to do that. Everybody's going to do that. Come on.
Man, everybody's in. Everybody's in. And the only chance you aren't in is if you forgot. That's it. That's all
Right.
you get. And I can remember one time where, I think Gateway did this one time. It's a little bit different than Run for the Money. It's come on up, and if you pay your money, you're in the Run for the Money, but you still get the time run. I think I like it, but I like the way we're talking a little bit better, where it's you get 1 entry per. I don't care if you enter twice, 1 entry per car, or whatever, 1 time run. Put your money up for that second time run, and that I like it. It's another layer of competition. So Brian Garrett saying they have dial for dollars, and I think I seen some champ said they run that at Coastal Plains quite a bit too, where they'll do like a run for the money entry.
Yeah, that's what I like, man. Alan Boykin's in here saying it's called Dash for Cash. There's lots and lots of
Names.
names for it, man. But
Yep.
all I'm saying is, I've heard it called $10 no holler.
I have too. I'll tell you what. Even in the regular weekend bracket race, for the racetrack's sake, most weekly points races give you 2 time runs. And I'm not trying to say that we need to all have to pay $10, $20 for that extra time run. But man, that's another way of somebody getting a chance to win a little bit of money, and the track making some money too. Why not cut it back to 1 time run even in the regular race, and then doing a run for the money for that second time run? That's just me. I know if I go to Ardmore, they're gonna give me 2 shots. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean?
Well, it gives you more of an opportunity to just go up there and hit the tree as hard as possible and just see if you can get it. I mean, what was it? Withrow won 50 grand at the Fling last year doing that stuff. We got another one in here. This is one, George, you remember going to Evansville all the time? You had that lady running around half pot, jackpot. You remember that?
Yeah.
That's what they call it over there.
Hey, I got a
Nuts.
good one in here from Jim Balkert. He says, "How do you feel about side pots? $10 entry, whoever goes deepest round." That's
I like
interesting.
that.
That's interesting. That's basically taking it out of the hands of the track anyway. You know what I mean?
So what we used to do is amongst our big group, we had me, Dad, Rodney Schaefer. I think Matt was old enough at one point to finally do it. We had Big Rick, who was actually ran street, believe it or not, and won this probably more than the rest of us, and Jim Simmons. And we would all put in 10 or 20 bucks, and amongst us, the second time run, whoever had the best light would get on. So, I mean, you get $100, but Big Rick used to get it in an old, I think it was an Oldsmobile or something that went like 18 seconds. It used to beat us all the time. It was unbelievable.
Just taking y'all money. Every now and then I do it just to kind of put a little competition out there. Number one, I feel like time trial is the best time to hit that light as hard as you can through the time trial. So even if it's just for me to get somebody up on the wheel a little bit better for a time run. Hey, I bet you I'm 005. I bet you I'm better than you this time run. That's just little stuff, but I'm with you, Jim Balkert. I wouldn't mind a little $10 interest, especially amongst friends. You know, you got a little side pot going on, and maybe even the loser has to cook. Who knows? Or next week you got to bring the cooler. Who knows? Something fun like that would be pretty neat. Pretty neat.
That's right, man. It's always fun that whenever you get a big enough group of friends. I mean, the thing is, when you get a big enough group of friends, you can be at the track, and even though you might not win first round and you might lose second round after you bought back, if you have those little pots, guys don't think about that, man. You can pay for your racing if you have 15 guys all want to put 20 bucks in, you know, and it's just a little fun thing amongst yourselves. You might suck, but you might still get some money from your buddies. And guess what? If they might get to fourth round and they might not be paying, and you'd be like, hey man, I've just been hanging out all night, cooking me some burgers and drinking a beer and hanging out, and you've been out there beating your head against the wall. Who won here?
Hopefully the person that he's speaking to actually did the winning. That makes the night a lot more fun too. You know, you got your buddy over here, he's been drinking since first round, so by the time the race is over, he's already feeling good, you know. So.
Hey, most importantly, he has all the food done.
Right.
That's what's most important. You just walk over there and get you a cheeseburger and go on.
Man. So what else we got going on here? I see Champ chiming in saying him and Brandon he does this during time runs. Best reaction time gets some extra cash. I've never beat him off the bottom, that is. Yeah, well, that's it too. That's what we're talking about right there. Him versus Brandon, extra cash.
I'll be getting in on that this year, and I'll be bringing about 10 other people with me, because Big Daddy Allen, he'll get in on it. Just don't get on it. We'll get John in on it. We've already increased the pot. We got the pot like 3 times as big, just right there.
That's pretty cool, man. So, guys, we're coming up. We got 5 minutes left. Get them coming. Get those ideas coming in here. We're going to stick around for a couple more minutes, and the next thing you know, I'll have a few littles running through my house, and they might have an idea too as well. Who knows? But yeah, man, I am excited. I've never been down to I-30's racetrack, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go down it this week as long as weather holds up. And hopefully you guys are going somewhere to have a good time and get the world out of your mind. Let's go release some fun on the racetrack and get everything else, just put it behind us for a little bit, at least for a day, you know. So
that's right, man. And the most important thing is the weather's finally turning, because I think everybody gets kind of depressed whenever they're cold and in the house, especially with all of us, man, because everybody in this chat is an outside person. Like, our hobby is a warm weather type hobby. So if anybody's like the rest of us on here, it's just, you just get tired of sitting in the house, being like having nothing to do, you know?
I hear you 100%. So, but no, guys, it's looking like we're coming to the end of it. I'm not seeing any very many. Do I need a crew chief, Cavanoid? Yep. I need one. If you want to come on over to I-30 and crew chief your boy on down the racetrack, I'm gonna be there by myself anyway. So come on with it. Casey, I just got a crew chief. Sounds like buddy Cavanoid Little. Come to the racetrack with me.
Hey.
Huh?
That wouldn't hurt because if he's over there crew chiefing on Kendall's car, we know what it can do.
Oh shoot, I'll take it. I'll take it. He says okay. So be it. I think I-30 is going to be packed out there, to say the least. But Christopher Dorn, Noble OK, Thunder Valley, I'd have their third bulb throwdown this weekend. So it looks like there's a race in Noble, and it's a bottom bulb race. Well, I don't bottom bulb yet, but it's right around the corner. Right around the corner. I can kind of feel it coming. So, what you got in closing, Casey?
Not much, man. Just appreciate everybody chiming in here. Obviously, we got to thank Syntex Printing, Champs Performance Parts, TSR Racing Products, and BRG 3D Printed Parts for always helping us out, keeping these GBR shows going every Tuesday, man. 5 Eastern time, 4 Central time. If you can't catch them live, catch the podcast. If you need to listen to it on your way to work, we got it going on there. And other than that, what did we say, George?
As always, we'll see you next Tuesday. Turn on some wind lights out there, fellas.